And one of those guys that you like more than Drew Mestamaker, if I'm not mistaken, is Jayden Maiava.
It is. He is. I'd like to. What is your grade on Jayden Maiava, just so people can understand how stupid I'm being?
A fifth.
All right.
He's
So I
he's got some Carson back to his game. Like that's not the comp, but I see them similarly as like ride or die gives you a chance backups.
What's your big issue with him?
I think some of the decision making on him is questionable, but it's questionable in a way where I don't think you can just clean it up. I think that the way he lives is going to translate very poorly to the NFL level, and I think there are going to be a lot of interceptions.
That's fair. I think he's good enough where I see the same thing you do. The thing with Maiava is those improviser kind of guys who create out of nothing. There is a certain level where it's like, yeah, okay, it's going to work in college, it's not going to work in the pros, but there's a certain level to those guys where if you're good enough, it translates. And I think Mayav above that level. I think he's above that line. This is the most magical player I've seen since Caleb Williams, man. Like, what the fuck was going on? I watched 8 games of this guy because I could not get enough. I mean, I already made the thumbnail for this cut up. It's Mayava Magic with a little wand on the front. You probably see it if you clicked on this video. It's unbelievable to watch. He's such a fun watch, and I think he's just going to keep getting better. A guy who could have declared this year, he would have been my QB2 if he had declared. Um, there are issues with this game. I don't think there's that many though. You look at it, he's big. What is his verified measurement? Let's see. Where's he at? 6'4", 217. Looks it. I mean, he looks bigger than that,
He
honestly.
does look bigger than that.
Um,
He's listed at 230. Maybe he
yeah,
slimmed down a little bit.
he looks bigger than that to me. I've seen some people have concerns with his arm. I don't at all. I think that velocity is high level. He just zips these balls into tight windows, and that just is getting at the base of why I love him so much, which is I have an affinity for these guys like Garrett Nussmeier, who just never know when to quit. Like, yeah, I'm gonna throw this ball, and there's just nothing you could do about it. There were times this past year where Mayava threw a ball that, you know what, there's a chance it was intercepted. There was no chance it was intercepted because the defender just couldn't have seen that coming. It's like, what the fuck is he doing, man? He's throwing balls 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage, being tackled 30 yards down the field into tight windows. And yeah, it shouldn't work, but he's in the Big Ten. These are the best athletes in the world. And he completes these passes. If he was doing it at North Texas or an American Conference team or even in the ACC, I have concerns. But he's doing this against Notre Dame. He did this against Notre Dame. He didn't have a great game against Notre Dame, but he's still killing them. He's still the Mayava magic is there, and that kind of playmaking ability, that X factor, that gene, it translates to the NFL when you are at a high enough level. Bryce Young is a guy who struggled early on, but he never lost that playmaking X factor. He never lost that ability to perform when the lights are the brightest, and I think that's what Mayava has. Um, his accuracy is maybe it's probably one of my least favorite parts of his game. Like it's not it's B minus C plus. It's not that scatter shot, but it's just not on the right shoulder all the time. It's not always it's behind guys, all that stuff. But I think his off platform accuracy is very fun, and I think he's lethal on the run. He's so comfortable outside of the pocket, destroying guys. And he is so good outside of the pocket because you basically just cannot take him down when he's inside the pocket. He just shrugs guys off, man. He shrugs guys off. He understands where he's at in the pocket. He understands what the edge rushers are trying to do to him. He steps up. He avoids this pressure. He bails out. He's fast. He's got that a little bit of that Mahomes in him where he's just faster than the guy that's chasing him always, no matter what. You really just can't bring him down. Find him in the backfield. You know, I think that his improvisation, his ability to step up, avoid the pressure, but keep your head up, eyes open, looking for the open receiver is the best in this class. And I'm talking so much about him when he's outside of structure because that is where he's just magical. But inside of structure, I think he's a perfectly good quarterback. Reads the field pretty well. I think he's full field reader. Gets one, two, three, four, five on multiple occasions. I don't really see him missing a lot of open reads. He gets to the backside dig more often than not. Not really fooled that often by rotating safeties, which is a big thing that the NFL is. Like, what 40% of plays are rotating safeties. You need to be able to see that, and Mayava it's just not really an issue for him. I think this guy's magical. I think he's got an above average to maybe even top 10 NFL, top 8 NFL arm. If he gets with the right quarterback coach, no worries on the mental side of the game. Maybe when there's a guy bearing down on him, I'd like to see him improve his throw under pressure. Not like the when he's on the run and he's making these crazy throws. I think sometimes when he's in the pocket and a guy comes at him, he gets a little bit antsy. But I think this guy shows everything you want from an NFL above average starter. He has the size, the height, the ability to make plays out of nothing, the playmaking gene, the X factor, the confidence to hit these windows. And yes, he has some issues with this. He has issues with his decision making. I think the benefits far outweigh the negatives. My comp for him, it's not perfect, but it's Cam Ward. I think he's that kind of player where he gets to the NFL, and yeah, there are bumps. There are a lot of bumps, but there are also a lot of positives. And you get Cam Ward or Jayden Maiava in a good environment. If you throw him to the Jets year one, I feel like that's unfair. He might fail. He might fail. I like there are situations where he will fail in the NFL, but I also think there are places where he goes and he becomes a top 10, top 8, top 6 quarterback in the NFL. Guys like this just don't come around often. I think he's got a genuine Caleb Williams level improvisation ability. He's not like no one's on the level of Caleb Williams, but he's the closest I've seen to it. He's playing under Lincoln Riley. It's no coincidence. I don't think this is a helmet comp. I've talked for a long time, but I love talking about Jayden Maiava. This guy is magic. I'm telling you.
He could be Cam Ward. I have that in my notes because I think they have a similar trait. They always know where every receiver out on their route is. And so it allows them to limit their pressure to sack by getting rid of the ball without, well, like with barely looking at the receiver, because they have that trust to quickly snap around to that route. They know where their dude's going to be, and they process defenses well enough to know where the defender should be. I have issues with some of the throws he makes because he thinks he knows where the defense is and he's wrong. I'm a little bit lower on his ability to attack disguised coverages than you are. But dude, I absolutely see the magic with Mayava. He is a fifth-year senior, born in Hawaii, played high school football there, and then he moved to Nevada, earned a starting role at UNLV before taking the job at USC in 2024 after Miller Moss got benched, and he has not looked back since. I think he has steadily gotten better. He has a very unique trait. I mean, he has a lot of very unique traits, but the one that I don't think you quite mentioned is that he is able to push the ball down the field really, really early in the rep. So he's not opening himself up to sack opportunities. That's uncommon. That's something that a lot of the NFL greats like Tom Brady have. That's something that, for all my criticisms of Fernando Mendoza, I think that's something that Fernando Mendoza has. And that is because Jaden Maiava throws into voids. He throws into spaces. He's not throwing to receivers all of the time. He sees open space and he says, you know what? I'm going to find a way to get the ball there. And it's a feast or famine way to play. It was more feast than famine at USC. It's just there were a lot of balls that were about 4 inches over the outstretched hands of a linebacker and about a yard in front of the safety bearing down. And it's just
But they
so
were
rare for that to
completions,
translate, but they were completions.
you know?
I do know it's tough. I hate being a little bit lower on
I,
Mayava.
listen, I
The
get it.
accuracy is painful for me because I think his accuracy is average, and it's like when I think you don't diagnose rotational coverages very well and you're not accurate, it is tough for me to bet on a guy that makes his money doing the most batshit stuff you have ever seen.
Listen, I get it because I think if he's 5% worse, I'm right there with you. Like the margin is so close with him. I just can't not bet on him because he just looks more like an NFL quarterback than I think anybody here does. I think I opened up my scouting report. Let's see. Um, what did I call him? Uh, Jane Maiava is the next in the growing line of the modern gunslinger, almost down to the fact that he's coached by Lincoln Riley. He's the modern gunslinger. He is the modern NFL quarterback to a T. He gets out of the pocket. He makes plays. This is a guy, game on the line, 4th and 8. Pressure comes. The nickel blitzes. You don't have anybody to pick it up. He beats him. He gets outside the pocket and he finds a miracle. And I think I'm just willing to bet on this guy. You know, he may have 12 to 15 interceptions a year in the NFL, but if he makes crazy, unbelievable drive season saving plays more often than he does, um, make those bad plays, 30 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, you'll live with that. A guy with the arm like this, with the anticipatory power that he does, the understanding of momentum, of coverages, of where guys are going, nobody understands how quickly and how well a corner can turn his hips like Jayden Maiava. And he's so good at fitting these balls in these windows because he knows, yes, he is gonna get about 4 inches from the ball, but he's not gonna get there. He just knows that he isn't gonna get there. I think once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times is a fluke. He does this 50 times this season. That's not a fluke. He could crash and burn this season. Absolutely, he could. I'm a bet that he's a first round pick next year. I'm a bet that he's a top. I think he's probably top 15, top 10 next year.
I can't wait to watch this tape in the spring when he's officially out for the draft, if for no other reason
Remember when he
than
was your number
because
2 in summer scouting? How stupid you look now when he's a consensus 6th, 7th rounder.
or remember, this guy was your number 2 in summer
Yeah,
scouting. Now he's
be
your
able to
number
hang my
1.
hat
You were
on it.
too low on him.